Got a Sony LCOS projection TV here. Got a new bulb, but the new bulb isn't working properly, and I think it's a counterfeit bulb that's causing the problem. So we're going to try something here. Take a bulb from another set, fit it in the housing, see if it still shuts down. Let's check it out. So this is a Sony. A little bit of screen damage on this thing. This is a Sony SXR Full HD. This did have a good screen in it until I damaged it moving it. This had a new bulb put in it, like very recently, and the new bulb doesn't seem to work. Now, the story on this thing is that I found this side of the road probably 4 years ago, and jerry-rigged a Samsung bulb into it because the bulb had exploded, and gave it to a relative, and she ran it with that bulb, and when the bulb died, we went and got a new bulb off Amazon, and that bulb lasted about a year and a half, and the bulb failed. And then after that, then we got another bulb for it, and anyway, that bulb didn't work. It was completely, like, it didn't work from the get-go. So I sent it back and I got another bulb, and it worked fine for, there, it just went off. It worked fine for about 2 weeks, and then it got really dim and started shutting off like that. And it'll come back, the sound is still there, the bulb has gone out. So I get the sneaking suspicion that there's an airplane flying by. What do you think? I get the sneaking suspicion that we got counterfeit bulbs in the supply chain now, because the last two bulbs for this, actually the last three bulbs did not last. Well, the last two, the third one did last for a while. It lasted for about a year and a half, and this TV would get very heavy use. Like, it was turned on first thing in the morning. The relative that owns it is in her 80s, and so of course the TV was turned on first thing in the morning, and the TV would run all day and be running until 11 o'clock at night. So the TV was probably getting 16 hours a day. So a year and a half is probably expected lifespan. But rather than buy another bulb for it, I'm going to try another transplant, as I've got a DLP bulb for Samsung. I don't know if it's going to fit, so we're going to try rehousing it and see if that works. And if it does, then I may, because the DLP bulb is actually for a set that I have, a Samsung that I have, but it's a spare bulb. I want to just try rehousing it and see if it will work on this thing. If it does, then I know that it needs a new bulb. It's not something else that's wrong, because I don't know that there's a problem with the ballast. Maybe that's why the bulb's not very bright, but I think it's probably a bad bulb. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to change the bulb on this. So the bulb on these things was right in here. It was a consumer replaceable bulb. You just took off this little hatch, dropped it on the floor, open that up, and then you see this is the last bulb that I got. It's actually it just plugs in like that, but there's the bulb there. See, it even looks different than. We'll look at it closer. There's where the light engine is, and this one's an LCOS. It's not an LCD. This was the SXR, so it was a different technology. There was 3 different technologies for these projection sets. One of them was DLP, which used the DMD chip and the little spinning color wheel. The others were a 3 LCD panel, and then this one was liquid crystal on silicon. So it was a reflective type of LCD panel as opposed to a transmissive. Much better color on these. So let's head over to the bench. So this is the Samsung bulb. This actually is the bulb for my existing Samsung unit, but it was given to me. It's a spare, and I've got one. So what I'm curious as to whether this bulb will actually work if it's the same size actual bulb as this one here. It may fit. We'll find out once I get the housing open on this one. So the housing is held together with, I believe, just one screw on this Sony housing. And then the bulb comes out. And there should be enough length on the wires here that I can undo the screws. I mean, I may have to take off this plug just so I have a little extra slack. In fact, that plug might come off the other one. I think the plug might be the same. So if I can just leave that on there and just change the actual bulb, if it'll fit. That's ideally if it will fit. I think the plug is the same. It looks to be the same plug. So if I can just change the bulb itself, make this TV work, then we'll know that that's all that it needs. I'm probably going to give the TV away, right? Because nobody's going to buy a projection TV. Not today. They're not going to buy one. So I'm going to give the TV away, but I want to make sure that all that it needs is a new bulb. So if I can put this one in and verify that everything's working on it, then I can put it up free. You just need to buy a new bulb for it, right? Because the bulbs you can get for $50 or so, it's just, and when you buy them from Amazon, if they don't work, you can just ship them back, right? Which is what happened with the last one. But when the bulb only ran for a month or so and then started acting up, I just gave the relative, it was my wife's aunt, I just gave her a plasma set that I had and said, here, you can have one of my old plasmas. And of course now she's happy because she's got a nice plasma TV and loves the picture on it. And she probably won't like the hydro bill when she gets the bill, and when the bill comes in for all the electricity the thing uses. She probably won't appreciate that, but hey, it's got a nice picture. And that was the downside with plasma TVs, right? They're a little bit on the energy hungry side, that's for sure. And I don't need that screw. I think it's this one here. They chew up a little bit of power, especially the older ones. I saw some 42-inch TVs that would, draw upwards of 500 watts when they first came out. I think Panasonic had a 50-inch set that drew about 750 watts. So those beasts, they look good, but man, they were power thirsty. These sets here are relatively energy efficient. They have a 100-watt bulb in them, but the bulb itself, that's the highest power consumption device in the set. So if we take this bracket out, the bulb should lift out. And I believe when we look at the bulb after we lift it out, the bulb looks to be the same dimensions as the other one. And it is. It's exactly the same dimensions. If we look at the two bulbs, the differences between the two bulbs, what you're going to see, this one here is a Philips bulb. You see this? This is a Philips, and it tells you which side goes up. This is the top for this bulb. But this one is a Philips bulb. This one here, even though the manufacturer said that we were getting a Philips, is clearly not a Philips bulb. This is a knockoff with a capital K. And that's the biggest problem. The first one that I got that didn't even work, didn't even have a stud on the back here. It just had a wire. It had a thin wire like this coming out of the back, and it had a crimp onto this lead here. That's the first one that didn't work, and then this one arrived. But you can see if we look at the back of the bulb here, I mean, just look at the difference in the quality of the cementing here. This one's got a nut on the end. This one here doesn't. Right? This has got a double nut with the electrode on the electrode with a lock nut on the back. This one here is just coming through the glass. It's just so there's no place. So of course the problem with this, if we look at it, get a closer look at this thing. If we look at this, the problem with this one is when they're torquing that nut on the first time, there's nothing really to grab onto on the lamp here to stop twisting, the twisting from going into the lamp itself. This one here's got a double nut so that you can put a wrench on here so that you can cinch it on without damaging. Look at the other electrode on this side. Look at how heavy this is. The screw, and it's riveted right to the glass. Right on this one here, there's a lot smaller screw. It's just there's just no comparison between the two. So let's just try mounting this one in this housing. This housing fits in like that. So the top side of this has to go up like this. It says top. There is a special way it fits in. Just like that. Or just like this. The same thing will go in this way too. Maybe not. Yeah, it'll fit in that way too. What this thing, so this faces up. I was looking for where the screws go in this thing. Screw goes in on the side over there. So that's the top. Okay, so that goes through there like the bottom, through the bottom there.
It's important to note that the operating voltage on these lamps when they're running is only around 30 or 40 volts, but the pulse needed to start them is around 20,000 volts. That's why the heavy wires.
This goes in like this. That's the way it goes in. Like that, and then that screw goes in the top here. Those go like that, and then there's a screw that goes in to hold the front on. So the bulb just slides in. And the plug plugs in. And I got my protective door. This is the only one that really has to be on because this has got the interlock on it.
I didn't attach the plug to the base because this is just temporary. I want to see whether the TV is going to operate with this lamp. It's not the right lamp. It's not staying in it. I just want to see whether it operates and whether the lamp still shuts down like the other one did. And that'll prove that it's a bad lamp. And because this set's going to be given away, it's going to be given away with the bad lamp. I'm not putting a good lamp in it to give it away. Whoever ends up with it can buy their own lamp.
It will go in eventually. Lock that in place. Put the screw in. Now let's try turning on the TV. See if we get a bright picture. So this lamp is coming up slowly. What we'll see is if the lamp shuts down like the other one did, then we know there's a fault in the set, and the set will be heading off to recycling. But if the lamp doesn't shut down and gets up to full brightness, then we know that that's just a lamp that was bad. So we can see the lamp, we can see the UV light coming out here. That's why these lamps are all shielded, is because they do produce a fair amount of UV light, so they have to keep them completely shielded in the back here. So here's the unit now running. I closed on the door so there's no direct sunlight shining on it now. It actually has a pretty good picture, and more importantly, it's not shutting off. So what I don't know on this is this bulb that's in there. I don't know if this is a brand new bulb or this is a used bulb, because the guy that gave it to me, he didn't remember whether it was a bulb that he pulled out of his set and then just put it away. It may be a used bulb. I feel a little better now if I put this up for free, because I won't be selling it. If I put this up for free and just put in the ad, it needs a new bulb, I'm a little more confident now that put a new bulb in it, and the unit's going to run fine, because it's been running now for a while. Hasn't shut down. Before it would only run for 2 or 3 minutes, and then the light would go out and it would strike again. It would run for a couple minutes and then it would go out again, which is a characteristic of a bulb that's failing. This bulb's not doing it. Of course, another thing that's going to affect the brightness, obviously, is the reflector. You can see the reflector on this one's a little different because this is for a DMD chip. The light is very focused to the center of the bulb because the DMD chip is very small, whereas this one here gets split and sent to 3 LCOS panels, so the reflector is a little different on here. But you can certainly see the difference in how polished the reflector is. This one's a much more polished reflector than that one. Anyway, this was just to prove that it's not a fault somewhere else in the set, and that getting a new lamp will solve the problem for this one. So time to put this back into its original housing. Also, this is good for people that want to just buy a bare bulb. That's how you change it. It just comes out just like that.
Okay, I think this is going to wind this one up now. I'm just going to put this bulb back together and put it back in the set so that I can get rid of it. But buyer beware when you're buying these bulbs off of Amazon. It seems to be that there's, and I'm sure eBay too, there's a lot of these bulbs now that are flooding the market at very low prices, and they are garbage bulbs. I think a lot of the OEM ones now are probably drying up because I doubt very much that they're even making these lamps anymore. These TVs are now pretty much obsolete, and most people are just tossing them, like this one was tossed. And you'll get the odd person that'll be still using one, but you know, I think their days are pretty much numbered. Anyway, it was an interesting technology when we had it. We had LCD, LCOS, and DLP. I still enjoy my DLP set. I watch it all the time, and it just keeps on going. And I've had mine since 2003, and it still works. And it's only on its second bulb too. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you'll be notified of my newest videos. We'll catch you later.
That's how that one goes back together, and this other one, it goes back together just like this. I think it was in just this way. It's probably a good idea to wipe the bulb down with isopropanol after you've touched the surface, just because your oil from your skin can react with the glass surface and discolor it. It's not going to cause it to explode or anything because you're not actually touching the quartz bulb, you're touching the glass envelope, but still it will deteriorate the glass and could cause it to discolor. So after you've touched the bulb or handled the bulb, if you've touched the surface of it, give it a wipe down with some alcohol to clean it up.